Time right now is 8:30. Good Wednesday morning. This is the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Also streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. And I'm your host this morning, Colin Worthington. It wasn't my intention this week to seemingly book Haralson County news and topic for each of these shows this week, but it's looking to be that way. Had a couple of candidates Monday and Tuesday. Gentleman running for the District 4 seat on the Haralson County Board of Commissioners. This morning, got another gentleman out of Haralson County. Handsome young man. He's a lifelong West Georgia resident. Despite that, he's a fan of the Alabama football team. His name is Keith Pesnell, and he is the police chief for the city of Bremen. Keith, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning.
I appreciate you giving us a chance to talk to you, catch up with you. I mean, I know, I've been doing this for 10, 11 years. I think we had you on maybe 3 or 4 times. First couple of years I was doing this, and I don't think you've been on since.
I don't think so. I think I wore my welcome out back then. I hope I did.
We talked to you plenty of news stories, but you haven't got to spend a whole half hour with you. But so maybe I might try and catch people up with the police chief. All right, time right now is 8:32. Bremen Police Chief Keith Pesnell, our guest on this morning's Community Voice. Chief, to catch up with you, give us your bio if you don't mind. How long you been police chief, and where'd you start out before you took over that role?
Well, I started here at Bremen Police Department around 34 years ago as a dispatcher / fireman. I continued to work here, creating my career. I became chief April 1st, April Fool's Day. In 2005, I've around 16 years as chief, so I've been very blessed. I was very thankful for the opportunity that I was given, and I thank the Lord every day for the opportunity to serve the citizens of Bremen. I got great people with me, and it is a challenging but a blessing.
Yeah, you're coming up right on 16 years.
Mm-hmm. Right on 16 years.
Yeah, 16 years exactly. How's the job changed in 16 years? I mean, we can just look at last year. I'm sure you can pick out plenty of things, but when you got into wanting to be a police officer, I guess what was your motivation, and do you see that same kind of motivation for the young men and women who want to be officers nowadays?
Yeah, I think I hear it a lot. I hear the same thing from the guys that I interview for jobs now, and it's wanting to help people, and that's always the main thing that I hear from each one is how much they want to help people, and that that's always good. But I think now when I look back and I look at things and I look at these young guys now, I think a career in policing or public service, I think that's got to be a calling. I think it has to be something deep down inside that makes you want to get up every day and face the challenges that are faced today and that were faced then, but they were different. I think now you deal with so much other than just helping people. So I think it has to be a calling, and I'm very, very thankful that there are people still answering that calling.
Yeah, we. If you think about maybe the media coverage, the civil unrest over the last year, is that kind of a deterrent? Do you think to officers? Do you think that's going to discourage some people from wanting to work in law enforcement?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, you look on the news and you see a lot of the negative and a lot of the things against, but I still believe. Deep down in my heart, policing is we have good people in policing, just like anything else. There's issues and things that have to be dealt with, but in policing, I feel as a whole, just good people, and I think it goes back to that calling. I think that if you deep down have that calling, you're going to answer it.
When you saw that, I guess what initially may have started the most recent round of unrest and concern and discussion about being a police officer and law enforcement, it happened in Minnesota, and then the civil unrest that followed. What were you thinking when you first saw that footage, and then the public reaction afterwards? That whole year, did you go through like a gamut of emotions?
Yeah, I did. I did it for I had a lot of emotions for a lot of reasons. One is my young officers thinking of how it has changed, and how the actions of others have changed the way we're looked at. the way we're perceived. I just had a lot of emotions, sadness, but then I had some hope and happiness when I saw how we stood up. The officers, the good ones, stood up and continued to do their jobs through it, stood there elbow to elbow and created that line to help do the calling that we have is to protect. And even through all of that, we got to see that too.
And I may not have paid as much attention to this on a national level or even state level, but locally, I saw a lot of the community and business leaders. They were showing their support for you guys, even though you guys may not have been, directly involved with what was going on the national level. But they were, we were seeing things every day. People were just bringing you snacks and bringing you food and, and thank you cards and things like that. That had to mean a lot.
Absolutely means a lot. But, I just think that I'm kind of simple. I kind of put it this way. We create our testimony every day. And if we're out in the community and we're caring about people and we're showing them we care about them and we're trying to help, I think that's when when we need them, they came and came together to help us, to show us. Little kids were bringing us cards and cookies and things. Adults were trying to buy the guys dinner when they were out eating, and that does mean a lot. It really does, because it shows that somebody does care. Because there's days out there feels like the least thought of, and it is nice to get some encouragement.
Yeah, absolutely. Even before that, do you believe you had enough police officers as far as being able to recruit? Do you think that is there room for more police officers on the Bremen Police Department, or do you feel like you don't have too much of a problem bringing in staff?
We're very blessed. We've got good, hardworking guys here that get out and work every day. We've been very blessed through times to keep a good staff, and through our COVID experience, we've been able to step up and help each other through that to maintain a good workforce to keep our citizens safe. We've been very fortunate.
I can't imagine. I can't think of what kind of price we would put on, salary for a law enforcement officer. I think anything's going to be too small in most cases. But how do you feel that salary and benefits for the Bremen Police Department rank against other comparable sized departments?
Oh, I think we're right there. The city was very kind and looked at it a while back when our city manager, he does a good job of keeping a check on different things like that, evaluating how we stand in our neighboring communities, how that we're competing, or and stepped up on some things, and we're right there. We are very fortunate. We're a very fortunate police department. We're a very fortunate community to have the group working together, our council, our mayor, our city manager, working together to create an atmosphere for our employees. It's I have to say we are. I keep saying it. We are very blessed. We're very blessed to have the community that we have and the teams that we have to all work together to step up to take care of each other.
Bremen Police Chief Keith Pesnell, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. Another issue you guys dealt with last year, as well as everybody, was COVID. That had to affect the police department in certain ways. I'm kind of being funny here, but I did kind of wonder this question. Do you think with COVID and everybody wearing masks and being concerned about spreading, do you think you guys maybe, I don't say did less, but for example, if somebody's going 45 in a 40-mile-per-hour zone, if you'd have pulled them over, before COVID started, were you letting kind of things like that kind of go just because maybe wanted to avoid interaction with somebody who may have COVID inside of a car or anything like that? Did that affect your own job?
It could have. We just took the stance of common sense. Just using our head, making sure that we kept everybody safe, ourselves safe. Just using basic common sense, Colin, to make sure that we didn't create a problem, but we had to do our job at the same time. So, one of the things, and I would like to mention it here, one of the things that affected our police department was losing a lot of people in our community, a lot of good friends that we've lost, and watching family suffer through COVID. I think that affected our police department and our community in a way that it will go with us forever. We have a lot of sickness that we see and things that we deal with, but we just see this this COVID. We put crosses out in front of the police department to represent the people who have passed away in our community, and we ride by it every day, and we always want to remember the families and continue to keep them in our prayers.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that number of crosses, that's not going to it's not going to be a steady. I mean, it's not going to be the number it is right now. I say if you have 25 crosses up there, it may not be 25 crosses in 2 weeks. Yeah, talk about that idea. It seems like you guys did put it together. It seems like the police department did. It's out there in front of the police department.
Yeah, we put the crosses out. We have one big cross in the middle.
That's off Highway 78. So if you're driving up 78, you're going to see those, right?
Yes, they're right in front of the police department there. It's in the fire department. We got together and we put the crosses out. There's one cross in the middle, and that represents any death. We don't want to just say that the COVID was the only thing that caused sadness. We want to represent the everyone that has experienced sadness. But we also have ribbons that if people want to dedicate one of those crosses to their loved one with their name on it, we've created that, and that's pretty touching. People have come out and been able to do that. And we feel anything that we can do to maybe help some families through some tough times. That's what we like to do.
Now, you guys are in the Tallapoosa Judicial Circuit, and I spoke with the Coweta Judicial Circuit District Attorney a couple weeks back and talked about crime during the pandemic, and just looking at it, you might think that crime decreased during the pandemic, but in this district, in the 5-county district, he said it was pretty much the same as it was the previous year. How about the city of Bremen? Did you witness a change, a decrease in crime during last year?
No, it pretty much stayed the same. We just continue to try to stay out there, be visible, continue to do our job, and carry it out again with common sense. But it seemed that we just tried to stay on top of things, and we didn't see a major increase or anything during the COVID.
They're pretty steady. Did you see an increase in domestic related issues? If you think about
those seem to come and go with whatever seems to come. When you put people in the house together for a number of days or whatever the circumstance may be, it seems that those do pick up. But that could be for any different reason, unfortunately.
All right. Keith Pesnell, he's the police chief of the city of Bremen. Our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. It's 8:44. We're going to take our first break and dig up some more questions to talk with Keith. We'll take our first break here. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3.
Travel, get-togethers, Sunday morning worship. COVID-19 has almost put a stop to our way of life. Vaccination is our best shot at getting back to normal. The COVID-19 vaccine is based on more than a decade of research. Trials show it's safe and can provide up to 95% protection when you've received both doses. Tanner is committed to making the vaccine as widely available as possible, giving you a shot at getting back to life. Until then, keep wearing your mask, washing your hands, and avoid gatherings. Learn more and get updates at tanner.org/vaccine.
At Oak Mountain Academy, our daily schedule includes convocation, prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance. By doing so, we build a family-like community where all students grow and flourish and personal faith is encouraged. Through community service and a historical approach to biblical study, our students are taught the value of the warrior way, honesty, respect, and responsibility. Oak Mountain Academy. We are a family creating legacies. To learn more, visit oakmountain.us.
8:45. Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Also streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. I'm your host this morning, Colin Worthington. My guest is Chief of Police for the City of Bremen. His name is Keith Pesnell. Keith, I'm going to throw out some legislation that's being discussed under the Gold Dome and maybe get your idea on it and see if you're aware of it anyway at this point. How about the this one actually I thought was really interesting. Georgia Senate backing legislation to require drivers to learn how to best interact with law enforcement. Senate Bill 115, it would require the Department of Driver Services to collaborate with the Department of Public Safety in creating education courses that would teach, quote, best practices of what a driver should do during a traffic stop. I guess that do you guys see a lot of problems with people understanding, or the best practices to carry oneself if they're pulled over?
No, I haven't seen that's increased any. The way the times are today, it seems that there's a lot of influence on that, a lot of conversation about that. I think that works both ways. I think walking up to the car, we show the driver respect, and the driver shows the officer respect. I just think that is something that should not have changed. I don't know why legislation has to be in place, but I think it's maybe gearing towards something to make sure that things like that are covered. But I just think the basic respecting each other at that particular time when the officer's doing his job, he needs to do it respectfully, like always, and treat people with respect. And I think that, again, I just think that works both ways with the driver. If he shows the officer respect and they carry out whatever the issue is there, then I think it'll all work positive.
I'm 48 years old. I probably have 32 years experience of, maybe not 32 consecutive years, but in 32 years I've been pulled over by officers, good and plenty, and they didn't always result in a speeding ticket. What do you think the decision, what are some of the things that an officer might consider in giving me a ticket or a citation or a warning?
Well, I think it depends on a lot of things. I just give my officers the freedom to exercise that discretion, to be able to look at all of the circumstances. We have a job to do, and we have to be there to do it. But sometimes once the contact is made and certain things have come aboard about maybe going to the hospital or something of that nature, and the officer doesn't know, and there's just sometimes there's circumstances that come in, and I always want to give the officer the freedom to exercise his ability to, again, you're going to hear this a lot from me, to use common sense to make sure that we're doing our job, but using it in a way that we're not showing a lot of power there over someone who is just trying to take care of a situation that we weren't aware of.
You've probably heard more about this bill in the news, and maybe you'd heard about the one that Senate Bill 115, but this one, as far as the citizens arrest law, the current law, what does that law state as it is now?
And what is that now called?
I'm sorry, the citizens arrest law.
Yeah, I have mixed emotions about that. I feel that people ought to be able to protect themselves and things, but I think in this day and time we have to really be careful how we carry that out, what kind of guidelines are set, what kind of because, once you carry out that act, you have to accept all the responsibilities that go with it. And I think that's hard to label those things when you don't know what the circumstances are really going to be. I do believe people need to be able to defend themselves if a situation occurs, but I do think we have to be very careful how we describe and how we put that out there.
Time right now is 8:49. Our guest is Bremen Police Chief Keith Pesnell. We're going to take our final break and come back with about 10 minutes with the Chief here on the Community Voice program for this Wednesday. The program brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3.
Travel, get-togethers, Sunday morning worship. COVID-19 has almost put a stop to our way of life. Vaccination is our best shot at getting back to normal. The COVID-19 vaccine is based on more than a decade of research. Trials show it's safe and can provide up to 95% protection when you've received both doses. Tanner is committed to making the vaccine as widely available as possible, giving you a shot at getting back to life. Until then, keep wearing your mask, washing your hands, and avoid gatherings. Learn more and get updates at tanner.org/vaccine.
At Oak Mountain Academy, our academic excellence shines through innovation and a personalized educational experience. Our pre-K 3 through 12th grade environment offers a family-oriented atmosphere. We are an independent school with faith-based values and an Academy Honor Code. Our academic standards prepare our students for college and beyond. I'm Patrick Duran, headmaster, inviting you to visit us on the mountain or at oakmountain.us. Come see how our warriors are creating legacies.
$8:51, the WLBB Community Voice program for this Wednesday. Program brought to you by Tanner Health System, Oak Mountain Academy. on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Also streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. And I believe at the conclusion of this program, maybe later on this morning, we're going to post this to the WKNG King Country Facebook page. Also Rejoice. So if you missed any of it, our conversation with Bremen Police Chief Keith Pesnell, you get a chance to go back and listen to it again and check it out again. Chief Keith Pesnell, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. Chief, I'm going to bring up a couple of things that Carrollton City Police have initiated over the last couple of years. Set up a series of cameras outside right around the city limits of the city, and they've paid off for a couple of high-profile cases. They've actually helped out a couple of other counties in locating missing people, solved a few crimes. Is that something that would be beneficial, could work in Bremen? I understand there's a cost to it, but is that something you guys have discussed or considered?
Absolutely, and thanks to Carrollton, we've been able to work together to solve some things together, and that's been very helpful. Yes, we are working for cameras, to put cameras in the city. We'd like to put them at each entrance or exit for our city. We're working on that. We've established some grants. We're working with our IT department here at the police department to try to come up with the best efficient way to do that, and we think we have. We're working on it now because I think today's times very important to have the video and the cameras rolling when recording things. Tag numbers helps us tremendously when we're needing to locate a suspect, those kind of things. But yes, we're like everyone else. We're moving in that direction, and through grants and community support, we're leaning that way.
And your new sheriff in Haralson County, he was formerly with the Carrollton Police Department, and I did recall him talking about trying to do something like that with Haralson County and working with the cities as well to maybe try and incorporate that and benefit each other.
Like we said, it takes us all working together, but they are costs to those things, so working to help each other, that kind of helps get through those budget restraints also.
Well, what do you think about the new sheriff?
We are working very good together. I'm proud. He's working hard. He's out trying to take care of our citizens just like we are, and working together makes it very helpful to all citizens that we continue to help each other and work together.
There's another program at Carrollton, and I know Carrollton because I'm here, so I hear these stories more so I apologize if I'm referencing Carrollton for something else, but last year they introduced a new crisis response team that would handle 911 calls that deal with mental illness, and it's basically a police officer who's also a trained paramedic team with mental health professional. Because maybe officers, maybe your typical officer is not trained to deal with somebody who is responding because they have a mental illness. And I think another issue with that is that instead of maybe being able to get them the help they need at a facility, they end up going to jail, and that's a big burden on the jails as well, and maybe not helpful for them. Is that something you guys have ever talked about or considered?
Oh, yes. Mental health is a very much concern of our community and police department. We want to do the best that we can to help them. Again, as you said, the jail sometimes is not the answer, but sometimes we just don't have the resources to be able to take care of them there. And we are looking at the same thing. We're looking at getting officers trained, and we went through some training last year on dealing with mental illness, and it really opened my eyes of how it affects so many parts of our community and our lives every day that we really don't even realize. So I think we would be very remiss not to proceed on with training and having people that can answer those needs when they do come up, and they do come up every single day.
I know you guys enjoy doing your programs with the public, inviting public into have a better understanding of your all's job and to work with you on programs and training programs and things along those lines. I don't know how many of them were dismissed last year because of COVID, but do you have any programs like that coming up in the next coming months that you guys are ready to offer again?
Yeah, we, of course, with COVID, it's kind of slowed us down a little. We have our female gun safety course that we try to do every year. We get a good response from that, and I think it's a very good program to educate ladies on guns and being able to shoot and where you can take the weapons and those kind of things. We have a safety defense class that we teach the ladies, so when they go shopping or outside, they know what to look for, those kind of things. We're gearing up this year to maybe try to do some programs with our car seat. We've got some certified officers to put in car seats and to educate people on the proper way to put their car seats in. We're going to start moving towards that. We want to really start moving towards teenage driver safety, little classes that maybe we can hold in this work with the school and see if we can help educate and make it safer for our teenage drivers.
Time right now is 8:57, wrapping up our program here with Bremen Police Chief Keith Pesnell. Chief, anything that I didn't bring up this morning you want to make sure that we pass along and share?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for our community for your support. If you need the police department, please don't hesitate to call. We're there to help and do our best to take care of you. And we do thank you. We are a very blessed community. And thank you, Colin, for always being you mean a lot to our community. You get out and you make sure that you find out what's going on, and you tell the truth and the facts, and I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And you're always available, even during on the weekends during Alabama football games. You've always called me back, got back to me, so I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Chief Keith Pesnell, Bremen City Police Chief, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. We appreciate you tuning in this morning. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy here on News Talk 1330 WLBB. It's a good chance I'm going to have another Haralson County topic for tomorrow's program, so make sure you tune in at 8:30. Have a great Wednesday.